Hello children, good morning to you. Today we are in the last part of the session, last part of the lesson electoral politics. Okay, today we are going to discuss what makes elections in India democratic. What makes elections in India democratic? In this, most of the reports are about inclusion or false names and exclusion of genuine names in the voters list. Okay, that means false name in the sense there will be in the voters list there will be false names there, so they have to remove those names and they have to include genuine names in the voters list. Then misuse of government facilities and officials by the ruling party. The government which is in the currently ruling, they should not misuse the government facilities and officials. The next one is excessive use of money by rich candidates and big parties. Excessive use of money by rich candidates and big parties. And intimidation of voters. Intimidation in the sense frighten, miratradhu. Okay. Intimidation of voters and rigging on the polling day. That means dishonestly they'll bring them on the polling day. Okay, what about the Independent Election Commission? So, there are some powers and functions of the election commissions. First of all, election commission is a independent one and which was very much powerful. Okay, it will enjoy the judiciary. What enjoys? That means the judiciary, what are all the things it enjoys, the same way election commission will also enjoy. Here, the Chief Election Commissioner CEC, who will be appointed by the President of India. He will be appointed as a President of India. So, the Election Commissioner is not answerable to the President after the appointment. He is not answerable to the President as well as to the government. Okay. So, what are all the few powers and functions of Election Commission? They have to take decisions on each and every aspect of conduct and control of election. That means from the date of announcement then to the declaration of result is left with Election Commission. Okay, it will implement the code of conduct, that means set of rules and regulations to be followed and punishes any candidates if they did not follow if they violates it. During election period, they can order the government to follow some of the guidelines to prevent use and misuse of governmental power. When on election duty, government officers work under the control of Election Commission and not on the government. Okay, these are the powers and functions. Popular participation. Now, we have to know about people's participation in the election. If the election process is not free or fair, people will not continue to participate in the exercise. So, people's participation in election is usually measured by voters' turnout figures. Then, next point, in India, the poor, illiterate and underprivileged people vote in larger proportion as compared to the rich and privileged section. Okay, so most of the votes will be from the side of poor, illiterate and underprivileged. Okay, third one, it is common people. That means program and policies should be favorable to the common people. Then fourth one, they should have the interest of voters in election related activities has been increasing over the years. Okay, 1/3 of the voters are taking part in the campaign related activities which was close to the political parties. The next one is, then what is the outcome of free and fair elections held in India? The outcomes of India's elections speaks for itself. The ruling parties routinely lose elections in India, both at the national and state level. In fact, in every 2 out of the 3 elections held in the last 15 years, the ruling party lost. The next one, in the US, an incumbent or sitting elected representative rarely loses an election. Candidates who are known to have spent a lot of money on buying votes and those with known criminal connections often lose elections. So, who are all losing their elections? Maybe ruling parties, sometimes they lose the election if the people was not satisfied with this ruling party. The next one is they'll spend a lot of money to buy the votes. So those who are having criminal connections, they lose the election. Then, barring very few disputed elections, the electoral outcomes are usually accepted as people's verdict by the defeated party. People's verdict by the defeated party. The next one is who is responsible for the challenges to free and fair elections. To free and fair elections. The party which will win the election and forms the government does this responsible. Okay, it was because the people have chosen it over its rivals. A few of the candidates will win purely on the basis of money, power and unfair means. But others, they'll still reflect the popular preferences. Popular preferences in the sense popular. The name of the political party will be popular, or the name of the person who is contesting in the particular party, that person will be familiar with the people. Okay, the next one is what are the challenges to free and fair elections in India? Candidates and parties with a lot of money may not be sure of their victory, but they do enjoy a big and unfair advantage over smaller parties and independents. That means coalition government can be made with the party who is trusting only the money. They could not tell that they are not sure that they'll get victory. In some parts of the country, candidates with criminal connection have been able to push others out of the electoral race. Okay, some families tend to nominate political parties, tickets and distribute it to relatives from these families. That means in a particular family, for example, women have got the reservation on election campaigns and election control. Okay, so what happened was from the same family, the women can be contest the election. That can be done. Very often, elections offer little choice to ordinary citizen. Ordinary citizen in the sense, normal person who is not stand for the, who didn't participate in the election, who didn't contest election. So, both the major parties are quite similar to each other, both in policies and practices. Small parties and independent candidates suffer a huge disadvantage comparing to the bigger parties. Why? Because they have started their politicians, they have started their political for the first time, so they will suffer a huge disadvantage while comparing to the familiar parties. Okay, so with this I complete the lesson, children. We'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.